Hello everyone and welcome to the aftermath video of my new album Entropy Order, which is out now. I thought it would be nice to create this longer format video in which I will be sharing with you guys all the process and all my journey I went through whilst writing the album and what writing these songs has taught me. And yeah, to just share this a bit more in depth and share this more detailed in this longer format video. So I think a nice thing to start off with would be sharing with you guys what the album generally anyway, like summed up has brought me and has taught me. So what all this process and journey of writing the album has taught me, as a musician, but also just as an individual, because both are indistinguishable. So I'd say, of course, it's very hard to sum up all this journey, all this process in like a few sentences, but I'll try my best. First of all, I think this album in a way marks for me this point where I again found the courage to truly walk my own way, to truly walk my own path, and to also share this with the world. The album also had a huge impact, or writing this album had a very huge impact on my approach to music. Music has always been something very special for me since like the start when I tried making music until now. It always was something special to me. There was always something more than just the physical act of writing music. Of course, until just now writing Entropy and Order, I was never really fully conscious about this. And this album also really helped shaping and defining for myself how I see the musician and the music and the relationship and what writing music means for me. And I truly, again, in a way, rediscovered this essential meaning, and I became again conscious about this thing through all the process of writing these songs. And for me, that is that whole thing of writing music and this interaction with your instrument, which just in general the process of writing music, this interaction is, I believe, at least for me, it is like this, a way. So this interaction is a way for me to understand, to learn to understand myself in a better way, more profound, more nuanced, more refined. It's just a better way, and that helps me to grow as an individual, because I get confronted with certain things, with myself, with certain feelings, tensions, with ideas, whatever, can be anything whilst I'm writing music. And through all this process, these interactions with these things, I get to I learn to understand myself better, and therefore my music changes, my music evolves with me, and through that thing I again evolve. So it's just like this forever going interaction and going back and forth between these two, which in this case is the musician and the music. So I think that would be, in a way, the album summed up for me. It again made me realize why I am making music and what the reason behind this is. And this is not to get better or to get technically better or to be able to play faster or whatever, all these theoretical and technical things, which definitely have their place in all this process. They are crucial, but the ultimate goal isn't that. And writing this album helped me again realize that this is not about all these external things, but it's about something primary. It's about myself. It's about getting to learn, or getting to learn to understand myself better. And that was a very fundamental, crucial change. And of course, within all this process, there were these, this is like kind of the general thing, all this process in its totality. But during this process, I experienced various different things in different forms, different feelings, different tensions, different ideas. So that's where these individual songs come in place. The album is more about the totality. Then you have the individual songs, which represents for me these periods, these specific periods where I had the specific feelings, specific tensions. And I think it's also nice to just share this with you guys a bit more in depth. I will start with the first three songs of the album, which are The Unseen, Underneath the Current Part 1, and then Underneath the Current Part 2. And why do I take these three like as a whole? Or why do I see these three as like the same type of process? Is because, first of all, I wrote those three very short on one another. It's like in the same, let's say, span of like a few weeks, maybe a month. And also I wrote these three songs before a very life-changing decision I made, and that was, I think it's crucial to mention this, but that was that I decided after I finished high school to just take my backpack, my tent, and to just walk without really any plan, without a time limit, just to walk. And I'll get more on that later, like what the walk symbolized, but quickly summed up again, it's just about, in a way, walking back to my essential core, to this essential central point within myself, to then be able to take that again as a point of reference and an anchor and as a compass in life. And that's a bit what that walk symbolized for me. But so those three songs were written just prior to that point and very short on one another. And in that period, I found myself in this kind of like in-between state, like this twilight zone. I was like still half asleep, but I was already half awake. And what I mean by this is that I already felt, and I also knew for already a pretty big part, that there was something more to hold this writing music thing, but also just generally in life, there is something more than just the things we witness, than these structural, physical, let's say, things. That there is a deeper reason why I am writing music, that there is a deeper reason why I am living life. And I already knew this, like I felt this, but I still couldn't really, that I felt it was still hard to reach that. And why that's the half awake thing. And why was it hard to reach? That's a half sleep thing. It's like this twilight zone. It's because I was still, in a way, there was still this distance between me and then the central point. And why this distance? This is kind of like all these layers of patterns, of conditioning, of beliefs, of just all these things which I identified myself with, but weren't naturally inherent to who am I really, like my being. And I like to like symbolize this as like this kind of fog. So you have this fog which stands for all these layers, this heavy gray dark fog, and you find yourself within the fog, but there is still this, in a way, this kind of core, this like pure shining core of light. And this represents, or this symbolizes, this central point which I talked about. But the thing is, there's still the fog, and all your life you don't know anything else but the fog. So I thought that this fog was the only thing, this was life, and there it stops. But I couldn't find like any peace or any calm with this fact that this is just life. So that's what I meant. Like I felt that there was something more, which in this case, or in this symbolization, is this pure core, or this pure ball of pure shining light. And the thing is, in order to again get to that point, to that core, one must again become conscious about the fact that there is this initial thing, that there is something else than the fog, because otherwise you can't recognize this thing. If you identified yourself with the fog, then there is no possibility to again recognize this core of light. And then, like a core of shining light, it shines. So you have these light rays, and these light rays are able to reach through the fog to you. But again, you must know that there is this core, which shines the light in order to recognize the light rays, and then only then you're able to again undergo this process of again arriving to this core. And in a moment I made for myself the decision that I again will just follow these light rays back to this core, was a point where I decided to take my backpack and go on this journey. And at the end of this journey, it became very clear to me that, okay, I've again arrived to this central point, to this essential point. Now it's for me time to come back and to realize what I felt there, to realize this again in the real life, and to bring this, or not, it's not something external actually, to bring this here, to express, to shape, to give form to this. And to me it was very clear that this is music. This is true writing music. Of course, this is true anything in life, but for me music is this special thing in which I just knew, okay, this is just me. I'm here to make music in relation to this score. But I was never conscious about this, and this being unconscious, this unknowing, caused this distance, and this in a way caused that I wasn't able to fully realize or to fully utilize my the full depth and the potential of my being. And so yeah, that's kind of, that's like a 3 songs, a journey. And I know this might sound a bit like, separate from the album, but this is something so crucial. So it's actually not something separate of the album. But yeah, and then so I decided to come back, and the first song upon returning from this journey I wrote was Centered Mind. When I returned, I found myself in the state where I even felt like a bigger contrast with the way that things are today. Like I didn't, and I mean I still don't, but I learned to live with it. But I did not, back at that point, I did not feel home, or I didn't feel that I belonged here. And just the way that things are today, I'm not saying they're going bad. I mean, I don't want to say that, but I know for myself that I just cannot find myself in this way of living. And so what happened, there was an even bigger contrast, or I felt an even bigger contrast with myself and the outside. And it's hard, it's difficult to explain this or to put this into words. It would be like you would have had this beautiful dream. It's like this beautiful serene landscape, the scenery, it's like crystal clear, it's just beautiful, it's pure, it's untouched. It just, words even lack the ability to describe this. And it's a beautiful dream. But then suddenly you wake up again, this reality, which is completely the opposite of that dream. It's like, for example, when you would be this crystal clear drop of water, and you would be dropped in this ocean of ink. Try to manage to not dissolve in this ink. That's what I'm trying to say. And this was the tension I felt upon returning. I had it so difficult to not lose myself in this ink, to not lose myself in the way that things are, and to not, in a way, to just again disconnect from myself. But the thing is, and I knew this, I would never be able to disconnect myself anymore from the thing I again realized, the central point. Never. I could maybe lie to myself, but there would always be this feeling, and I knew this. So I was like, okay, look, I'll just keep on going, just try to manage to keep my focus on this feeling, and to utilize that feeling as a point of reference, as this new compass for me in life. And in the beginning it was immensely hard. I had these moments where I didn't manage to find the inner resilience, the strength to focus on this feeling, and that I just, in a way, for a moment dissolved in this ink. But then I was like, okay, no, wow, it feels, this is not what I want anymore. And so during this whole period, I wrote the song Centered Mind. And for me, writing this song was a way to shape this tension, this feeling, this duality between, finding the inner resilience, strength, the dedication to just focus on this feeling, on this new compass, but within surroundings that constantly have the tendency to pull you out of that focus. And so for me, writing that song, or for me shaping this tension, this duality in that song, and I really, this was something very beautiful. But this was truly the first time I realized that writing music is this interaction between the musician and the music, that through writing music I get to learn to understand myself better. So through writing Centered Mind, I found, or this helped me maintaining this focus through writing this song. And yeah, generally, like, after writing the song, it already, like, this duality became not necessarily less, but I managed to stay focused more on this feeling, on this point of reference. And that was really the first time I truly experienced the interaction between the musician and the music, and that how writing music for me is a way to learn to understand myself better. And whole this process, it was not easy. It was really, really hard. But writing music helped me get through it. And then it became very clear to me, as I just said, that this is why I make music. So after Centered Mind, I wrote Not So Usual. This one, it was like, so I just wrote Centered Mind, and again, like, this kind of opened again this door to just truly make music from that new starting point. So from that point of reference, just making music to learn to understand myself better. And after, in a way, I opened that door, there was this feeling that I really felt the need to rediscover at that time, the current possibilities of my being, to explore my being, to rediscover the possibilities of my being. And it became clear to me that in order to do this, and it might sound a bit cliche, but it was really like this, in order for me to realize this, I had to, in a way, reignite, in a sense, this inner childlike curiosity, this type of wonder, this enthusiasm, this like unlimitedness. And I knew that this unlimitedness was for me the key to open the next door. And that is where Not So Usual come in place. So in Not So Usual, I found myself in this period where I just really wanted to experiment with chaos, with entropy, with disorder, with something unstructured, something which just completely, in a way, goes beyond technical or theoretical things that make sense. This kind of like unpredictability. And so I just sat behind my piano, and this really just came out like this. And I just let myself go in this flow of entropy, in this flow of chaos. I just, in a way, surrendered to this flow. And it was something very beautiful, but I also learned a very crucial lesson through writing the song, is that, letting yourself go in entropy and chaos is something very beautiful. It opens doors to these new possibilities, to these new ideas, new things. But it's also very crucial to maintain your focus, to not lose yourself in this chaos, but to rather to direct it, to shape it, to shape this, in a way, energy or this thing. um, because I felt that in certain moments whilst playing that song, I in a way lost that focus, and then suddenly it just doesn't make sense anymore. I mean, of course, all the song doesn't make sense if you listen to it from something structurally or something which you want to predict or something which feels familiar. But if you listen to it from this other point of view, this chaos, this thing, I mean, the song makes sense. But even within that chaos, I had these moments where it just didn't make sense. The totality just, yeah, some parts I played, some things I did which just didn't fit even within chaos. And this became a very beautiful lesson to me, that even within chaos, doesn't matter if it's chaos or structure, it's about finding this balance. It's about being able to, or managing to direct this current, to direct this flow. And that was a very beautiful insight which this song allowed me to realize. And at first I thought, maybe I should then re-record this song from this new insight, but it didn't really work out. So I think even this lesson, I think it's crucial to also just leave it in and to talk about this, because I mean, the whole this process is nothing more than learning, and it's about this. So that was like not so usual. That was not usual, no. So afterwards, I wrote All That Remains to Be Discovered. I think I changed the title, so that's why I think it is All That Remains to Be Discovered. So that one was for me, after I wrote Not So Usual, I gathered this insight to write a song which I was able to integrate, so to shape or express this sense of chaos, the sense of entropy, with the sense of order. And I started just experimenting with my guitar, some effects. I found out that when you would take like a barré chord, and then you would like just slide over your strings, it would create like this percussion kind of sound. And I found it very pleasing. I found it very nice. I thought it sounded very cool. I put some delay on it, blah, blah, blah. I did some things. I recorded some like percussion with my guitar as well, also delay, all that. And then I created this intro, which for me shaped this sense of order. It was like a chord progression, still kind of like improvising in a way, random. Then I had like recorded this duduk over it, my flute. And there was a sense of harmony within the context, and then it transitions into this kind of more chaotic thing with this sliding technique, but with a structured percussion rhythm. That's just now very technical, but this was for me my way to, in a way, experiment or to find this balance between chaos and order. And yeah, that's kind of the phase, the period in which I wrote that song. So after that one, I recorded Between the Here and There. And this one is quite different than chaos and order. I mean, of course, you can integrate chaos and order within everything, but I mean, this one was different in a way that I was just playing with this new digital library with this organ sound. I added some reverb, and I started improvising. and this improvisation ultimately now formed this song. But I experienced a very special, specific, and dualistic feeling. And it's about this kind of immense gratitude and appreciation, but on the other hand, also this kind of like quiet sadness, but not this typical sadness. And I will get into that more now. So, first of all, I experienced this immense gratitude, like this very like grotesque gratitude for the fact that I was again able to create music from that starting point. And but the fact that this is so freeing, and that I kind of just found a way out of this cage I lived in for 18 years of my life. This sense of appreciation and thankfulness was really, really huge. But on the other hand, there was also, I experienced this kind of like quiet sadness, but not the sadness which is heavy and which weighs you down or which carries you down. No, it's rather actually something which carries you. And after like reflecting about this and listening to this song, so listening and reflecting, I came to this realization that this is actually about the more you get to live from the essential core, the more gratitude, the more freedom, the more beauty you are able to experience. Just the more unlimited you get. But at the same time, when you live in a world where things are quite different than that feeling, an even bigger contrast grows. And that results in this kind of quiet sadness, but it's something that carries, it doesn't weigh down, it carries. So that was a very crucial experience, because it's very confrontating, but it's something very beautiful, something very sad, but something very fundamental. And this is crucial on this ongoing journey that I experienced this. And this is something which will happen when you choose to truly walk your own path. So that was something very ultimately beautiful. So, Uncertain Terrain. This one is, I love this one. Not more than the others, but yeah, this really maybe, it was such a beautiful experience. So, Uncertain Terrain really emerged very, very spontaneously. To quickly sum up, I found this cool percussion thing digitally. I took like my synthesizer, I started improvising over it, and just letting myself be guided by the song itself. And I think that during this writing this song, I found myself in this moment, in this process where I really like just again felt like a kid, like just very spontaneous, very enthusiastic, very unpredictable, very unlimited. And this was such a nice experience. And yeah, this is really, there was a moment which I really realized, like, okay, this childlike sense of just being is so important in whole this process, because this allows for so many doors to be opened, and this allows for so many new ideas, experimenting, trying, searching, to then, of course, again brought back in balance by a certain sense of focus and certain sense of integrating this balance between the two. But it's such a crucial part, and it was a very beautiful thing to just let myself completely go in this feeling, and to, rather than trying to achieve a certain an outcome, I really just tried to listen and to just respond to these impulses that the music and the song gave me, and to let myself be guided by them, instead of trying to want to have a certain fixed outcome. And then I just write it this, or I just kept on writing the song further. I added this like Indian instrument at the end, which is also very random and very unpredictable, which again afterwards when I've reflected on it kind of expresses this unpredictability from a kid. Like, like its focus, it just jumps from point A to B to C, like it's everywhere, which is something very beautiful and something so pure and like untouched. um, so that was a very beautiful thing to be able to experience again, and this also really truly helped me, of course, in the rest of the journey. Then afterwards, I wrote a new Dawn. This one is also, in its own way, also quite special. Um, I find myself in this kind of like period where I just really find myself keep getting like to my playing my guitar. It in a way like attracted me. I felt like okay, and I kept like playing um, this like Spanish influenced melody. I probably now insulted the whole whole Spain, which I'm sorry for. I love you guys, but I don't know. I think to me it sounds like a bit like Spanish, Middle Eastern. It's two completely different parts of the. Actually, no, it's actually quite close. Anyways, um, and so I just started recording that one, like that melody, and then the song in a way unfolded quite naturally, in a way that then after that, like that intro, I started playing this like strumming, like this more rhythmic strumming part, like do 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 do, something like that. Once I came to a point which the strumming part became a bit like more, even more rhythmic and a bit faster and a bit, I felt this huge tension within myself. Like I just couldn't get that that sound out. I mean, I could technically play it, but this feeling which was inside of me, which I wanted to get out, I just wasn't able to. And then a good friend of mine listened to the song. We talked a bit about it. He helped me to realize this, or why I couldn't get this out, and what this tension was. And then it became clear to me that it was about a certain sense of integrity, a certain sense of softness within all that process of writing that song, because it was like very rhythmic. It was also kind of chaotic. Like I started and I was screaming in my mic, and was like processing this into a way that like it fits in the song. But there was a sense of softness, a sense of vulnerability missing. And it became clear to me that throughout all this process, in which you just again experiment, it just again this door which gets opened, and through all this process it can get very like wow, so beautiful. But then again, it's so crucial to maintain this integrity, the softness. And for me, this was something, I mean, in general, it was something very hard for me to be able to um, be vulnerable just towards myself and towards, of course, then all the process in writing music. But this song really challenged me to play this in a way more upbeat, this more intenser rhythmic part on a way that integrates this softness and this vulnerability. And through writing in New Dawn, I again found a way, or I found a way for myself to allow myself to be vulnerable, even when going crazy with experimenting. And this was such a crucial insight and point. And it's again about this balance. I mean, this vulnerability was something I really had a difficult with. I mean, of course, again, this is also still a result or an impact which this conditioning, these beliefs had on me. But it was so beautiful to experience that writing a song can again help you find trust in this point and help you arrive at this point where you allow yourself to be able to let this flow again and to allow this again. That was a very beautiful one, but also very special and hard and very confronting. Because man, why would we want to be vulnerable? But yeah, no, it's that was something very beautiful, and that was also the last song I wrote during this process. And I know I like the final track list. I rearranged it a bit, but this was the order in which I actually wrote them during this process. Yeah, it was a very, very beautiful journey, very confronting one, but so enriching, and I'm very grateful that I went through this because it has brought me so much more. And now on this point as well, this, I mean, of course, this has an impact. Life is just one continuity, 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 continuity. And all this process had such a fundamental impact on till this day, which, I mean, it's normal. Life is just one big continuity, and it goes, and it's a process, it's a journey. It will never stop until the last day. And who knows, maybe even then it doesn't stop. I don't know. So naturally I went all this process as an individual and ultimately as a musician, because both are indistinguishable, within the capacities or my capacities at that given moment in my life. And what I want to say with this is that all this process, all this journey, each single moment, second, millisecond, the present moment, it is temporarily. All this thing, when you see this as a whole, this is evolutive process. It's about growing, it's about changing. And throughout all our lives we do this. This will never stop, you know. As I evolve, my music evolves, but as my music evolves, I evolve. It's this indistinguishable interaction. And during all the process, I was searching, I was experimenting, rediscovering, and I think you can also really hear this in the songs, that there is this kind of sense of instability. It's very broad, it's very wide, it's very unlimited. It's like it's a bit like, you know, a kid, as I talked about in Uncertain Terrain. It's really like this. It's about your focus is a bit everywhere, and this is like also this chaos or this entropy and order. And there is this, or there was this instability within all this process, but it's so crucial. It's part of the thing, and the journey has taught me to just accept this and to find beauty in this, because it is beauty, it is beautiful. And there were moments of uncertainty, of insecurity, and those are all part of it, and it's very normal, it's very beautiful. Because if you think about it, if there wouldn't be insecurity or uncertainty or instability, there wouldn't be a possibility to find the opposite, which is stability and such. So it's actually something very beautiful, and something which invites us to grow and to learn more about ourselves. So I think that's something very beautiful, and something that we should learn to accept within all this process. But it is scary. It is scary to walk your own path, especially within the context of today, because when you do this, it's real, it's true. You get confronted with the real you, and this is vulnerability. This is unfiltered. It's just you, and that's reality, and it's scary because it confronts you with many things. Today, we try to avoid this at all costs, which is very unfortunate, because so much beauty just gets lost through this. And if I could say one more last thing, it would be that I just generally hope and wish for everyone that they could truly realize the full beauty and the full potential of their own being through undergoing this very hard, very confronting, but ultimately such a beautiful journey and process. So that would be, I think, a nice thing to end this video with. I thank you to listen to this, to watch this, and I'm very, very, very excited to share my future things, to share the videos, to share a bit everything. So yeah, I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day, and see you next time.